because usually we have it on Wednesday, but like I took permission from you guys. I'll be on the road most of the day, but by the grace of God, today will be available. So welcome to Excel Online with Poavi. How are you doing? Hope you're enjoying the new week so far. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a very fantastic week so far. So it's been fun like that, talking to a few of you online. I got a few calls and I was amazed at some of the things I got to hear. A lot of them mostly were feedbacks. So I want to appreciate all those of you who took out time to reach out to me. Somebody says, well, I don't have your contact to reach out on you. Like I said, you can slide into my DM, and when we have that conversation going where there is a need, I can promise you we will have that phone call. And there's some of you who actually took the bull by the horn to call through Messenger. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys always for your support. Now, if you have not subscribed into the YouTube channel, please try and do so. It's EX-HALE Online with Poavi on the YouTube. Please just subscribe, and if possible, help invite and share. And if you are watching, please, you can click on the share button as well, and let's take this message and make it viral. So today is my beautiful daughter. I call her my firstborn. Today is her 40th birthday. Wow, what a thrill. So why I'm deep what I want to know, some of you are hearing me right now. A very happy birthday to you, baby girl. Like I told you this morning, the world is waiting for you. Take your place, take your stage. The set, it's all set for you. And you are a voice in this generation that cannot be ignored. So the earlier you start, the better. And this year, whether you like it or not, we're going to make sure your voice is heard, and that calling and the grace of God upon your life that is so desperate to find expression will do so. So happy 40th birthday, my love. I love you from the depth of my heart. I believe in you and the woman that God is making you out to become. So much love. So shortly after this, I'm going to be posting her photos online. So please like, drop comments. I didn't do it earlier because I wanted to do it the first time on broadcast. So thank you for doing so, and please you can also drop a happy birthday for her in the comment if you got that part. Now, we were talking on Sunday, and we talked about the impact of staying in the circle of unhealthy sexual patterns. And one of the impacts that we discussed, we talked about the emotional impact, we talked about the physical impact, and we talked, touched a little bit of the spiritual impact. So today, I want to talk about mental impact. What impact it has on you mentally. For some people, anxiety, depression, and eventually addiction. Now, somebody says, well, how does unhealthy sexual patterns become an addiction? There are people, like I told you, who cannot do without having sex, who cannot do without pornography, who cannot do without masturbation, who cannot do without, sex chatting and video sex and all that. There are people who are hooked on these things. There are people who are predators, even on social media. What they do is to find innocent ladies or innocent guys and share their privates. And they do it, they get a kick out of it. It's just like a fuel for them. So we know that people who have these patterns on the inside of them, you could say a million and one things about those kind of people, but for the sake of this, I would like to say that it's an impact they're having, and it's one of the impacts of staying in that circle, in that loop. Remember, on Sunday I was talking about it, and I said when you are in the habits, right, of you're thirsty first and foremost, and you are looking for something to quench that thirst, and you now decide that what you want to use to quench that thirst is salt water. Now, I told you that salt water, no matter what you do, will not quench that thirst. On the contrary, it will make you feel more dry, more poached, and before you know it, you are looking for more water to quench that thirst. And if you still insist on taking that, it's like staying in that loop, because however you go about it, it's going to continue in that loop. Now, that's what some of us do. When we stay in that circle, there's that mental anxiety. And anxiety in the sense that for some people, the fear of being caught, the fear of shame, the fear of disgrace, the fear of what if. Some people just, have sex unprotectedly, throwing caution to the wind. And then there's that anxiety. What if she gets pregnant? What if he has a disease? What if, and the what ifs and the uncertainty. What if he doesn't marry me after I've given myself to him? What if she breaks my heart? What if they cheat on me? What if? And the what ifs come about with anxiety, come about. For some people, it tends to depression, because when you find yourself trapped in that loophole and you are trying in every way possible to get out of it, but you seem not to be able to come out of it, you get stuck in that place of anxiety, and anxiety that is untreated or unattended to, eventually will put you into a place of worry. Worry becomes fear. Before you know it, you're becoming sad, you're becoming depressed, you're becoming withdrawn. And because most people who find themselves in this state, especially when it gets to depression, that pattern, that unhealthy pattern, now becomes a fix for that depression, because it's like, oh well, if I'm so depressed, I can't, I don't know why I'm doing this. I know I'm better than it. But the only way, and then you feel trapped. Before you know it, you will end up finding yourself telling yourself, you know what, the only way I can get out of this feeling I feel right now is a temporary fix, which is, let me find somebody who I could have, a quick one with. While my mind is thinking about that, I'm not thinking about the numerous things that are bugging me. I'm not worried about feeling depressed. I'm not worried about anxiety. I'm not worried about all these other issues that have gathered along the way, that have already multiplied and led me to whatever feeling I am feeling right now, which is, that depressed state. And I can tell you for a fact that these sexual patterns really do not bring solution. On the contrary, they keep you in a place of depression. They keep you in a place of worry. They keep you in a place where you tell yourself that, you know what, I need help. I need to find myself out of this. And as long as you find yourself in that fix, if you're not careful, you may just remain in that loop over and over again. So anxiety, we said, is one. Depression, we said. The next thing would be addiction, and that's another impact mentally, because addiction does not start, by the first one. It starts when you take the first step and you enjoy that, and it makes you just feel relaxed. And so every time you feel a bit tensed, and every time you feel that need to feel relaxed, before you know it, you're doing it again and again and again and again and again and again, until eventually you find yourself in that loop where you have to get it. If you don't get it, you're distorted. There are people I know who cannot do without sex. They have to sleep with someone every day. And if their partner is not available, they will go looking for any random person, could be anyone. What do you think gets to a point where somebody is so desperate that they're willing to sleep with a baby? Somebody asked me, I don't understand. What do you mean by baby? I was sharing with someone a story that I was involved in some years back of how a mother, had her baby in the house, and she just put to bed, and she had to, she stayed for a while. She was doing exclusive, so she had to return back to work. And unfortunately for her, I think I've shared this story on EX-HALE before online. She had the younger brother of the husband come stay, and she taught him how to stay. And this guy, every time they went to work and the baby cried, would just put the pennies into the mouth of the baby because he needed that release. It was like an addiction until issues happened that led to the baby being in the hospital. He was eventually caught, eventually jailed, the baby died. And it was such a very, very traumatic story and a very traumatic experience for both mom and dad. So, but these are things that people struggle with, and some people struggle with it to the point that if they don't get it, they would even rape for it, and I'm talking both male and female, because I remember way back then, when we were growing up in Kaduna, there was a school, and it was like an all-female school who were known for, they just do it for fun. If they don't sleep with themselves, they sleep with the security or whatever. And it was just so sad one of those days that they had the security guy and molested the guy till he died, right? And somebody says, are you kidding? Do these things happen? Trust me, they do. They happen every day, right under our noses. People who are struggling, and the funny thing is, it's not written on their foreheads. Now, somebody is struggling with alcohol addiction, substance addiction. You probably will see it because the person becomes anxious. I need a fix. So we know that something is wrong. But what about somebody who has a sexual addiction? Does it really show? Is it really pronounced like that? Often or not, no. So because of that, you don't know who you bring into your home or who you bring around your child. It could be your friend, it could be your sibling, it could be your neighbor, it could be your spouse, right? Because we've heard of spouses who do that to their children. But like I always say, I'm not saying suspect everyone, but at the same time, please suspect everyone, right? Your paramount duty is to make sure that you protect yourself and everyone around you from predators. Another impact would be relational. Like I started talking about this on Sunday, where I told you that most people who find themselves in unhealthy sexual patterns, or if I'm making having sex, I like it wild, I like to get sex toys, I like it like this, I like it like that, or no, I if I watch porn, I have to do this, I have to that. These people find it really hard to commit to a relationship. Now, they're one of the relational impact is finding it difficult, like difficulty in building healthy long-term relationship. They may find themselves in relationship, but often not it's quite unhealthy, because the other person now has to cope with their unhealthy patterns. You have to cope with, my partner is a masturbator, so it's not every time he wants to or she wants to be with me. She would prefer, or he would prefer, to have it with himself. Or, my partner is someone who loves porn, and that may not be your thing. So that alone can cause a lot of friction. Like for me, I'm not really someone that would ever subscribe to porn. I never liked it, and I told you I was put in a group, and when I discovered that was their goal, I made sure I took myself out. And that's because I'm not one that gives myself into it, because I know that it's a trap that will take you into that place. And once you find yourself into that place, you begin that habit of sexual trap. And trust me, that porn can be a very strong trap. And I can promise you, we have a lot of people who are so respectable in society, people who you would never believe have that struggle. But that struggle, like I told you, it's addictive. So it affects them because, it takes away, they struggle, they're trying to hide it from their spouse, they're trying to hide it from their partners, they're trying to hide it from their families, they're trying to hide it from society. And because sexual urges are a very weird thing, it's not something you want to put out there in public. Somebody wanting to go to a brothel is not going to come out in broad daylight and take that stroll. He's going to wait till night and hide and code and everything. And they do that because they don't want to be seen. They know it. And if their partner, it's going to break their heart. But you know what? People who do that often are not, already you're cheating. So that relationship or that marriage cannot be healthy, right? And like I said on Sunday, aside our young adults, I'm going to try to talk to marital couples, because I know a lot of marital couples who are going through unhealthy marriages because one partner or both partners are involved in unhealthy sexual patterns. Now you find yourself, you think, okay, because like I said, marriage is for sex is for married people. But when a married man or a married woman steps out of their home and decides to engage another person, a third party, we call it adultery, right? Into a sexual behavior. And you know what? I don't get enough of it from home. I am not, remember, like I told you, if this person was used to multiple partners or used to, some kind of wild sex or some kind of, funny things, we have to watch porn or we have to get high or something, and the other partner doesn't really know that, you marry your partner, out of pure innocence, and that person is oblivious of what is really hiding on the inside of you. The next thing is the person may most likely find themselves, cheating, because if you find somebody out there who matches your energy, either another married couple or another married person who also is having it tough, and the two of you pair, or a single person out there who just is looking for, maybe money or adventure, and you find yourselves, you now discover that you become, used to that. And once you've done it once, like I told you, the consciousness, the guilt, the shame, everything comes in. But when you do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. Now, eventually the conscience dies. You no longer feel guilt. You no longer feel shame. But the truth is, deep down on the inside of you, something tells you, I'm not doing right. Because shame will always tell you what you did is bad, what you did is wrong, you should not. And we have people who will tell you when they caught, I've seen all sorts of things. When you catch a cheating partner who is having sexual affairs with others, and you're confronting them, and the person starts getting angry. What's that? Who told you? Da, 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 da. Often or not, they are as guilty as hell. And someone who loves you and does not really want to hurt you, once the person is caught, will tell you, you know what, I messed up. And I know that I don't deserve that second chance, but I love you. And if you give me every chance, I will try and make it right. I promise you, I'll try to fix it. And you will see that person's sincerity, and you will see that person actually trying to make it right. Now, when you see someone continuing, it's because that person is already developed patterns, and those patterns often or not are very difficult to break unless the person makes up their mind that it's time to break that habit. Now, let's talk about a way out, right? And it's in 3 steps, but for the sake of time, I'm going to run through one. And how to break unhealthy patterns, sexual patterns. Number 1, detox yourself, right? Remember, when we were talking about why often or not young adults get stuck in sexual patterns. We said that there's the mental aspect of it, where you find yourself in an environment or in a situation that triggers that pattern. The next thing is it triggers the urges. The urges kick in. And when the urges come, the next thing we're looking for is how to reward the urges by giving in and succumbing to it. So it's the same thing. Detox yourself. Remove yourself from the triggers. Where are those places you find yourself going? Are you the type that likes going to strip clubs or the club, or driving by that road where you know that the ladies are standing by the road, or going to a club with the hope that the guy would see you when you, because I've seen that, ladies go out and they go to places to buy drinks for themselves, so that while they're taking that drink, lonely guys who come in who want to mess around will see them, sit with them, buy drinks. Eventually they negotiate and they go with the guy. Now, we have those kind of ones, and I'm told that there are guys who do it with women too, who find themselves and women negotiate and take them, but it's crazy. But whatever it is, detox yourself. Remove yourself from those places that trigger and ignite the patterns in you. Now, another thing would be to unfollow explicit sexual accounts, because there are people, like I told you, somebody put me in a group and was like, oh, you're gonna like it, you're gonna have fun, it's a group of people who want to just have fun at the same time. They just want to interact. And then I found out it was a sex adult group. And we have a lot of that going on these days. We have them on Facebook, we have them on Twitter, we have them on TikTok, we have them every social media platform, WhatsApp, whatever it is. Wherever you find yourself in those kind of places and you're trying to break free from these things, number one, like I told you, would be detox, which would be first and foremost, remove yourself. Unfollow all those accounts. If possible, block them, delete yourself from them, block them, and don't allow yourself, go back there no matter what happens. Because, and if you hooked up with one or two people from those groups, you might want to block those people as well, and help yourself, because as long as they have access to you and you have access to them, chances are you will find yourself back in that loop again. Another thing will be avoid risky situations. Come on, we all know what it is. You go out to see a guy and you just, stay longer than necessary. It's getting late. And instead of you to stand up and leave, you just want to sit there and keep chatting. Before you know it, the guy, oh, it's late. Oh, I can't get an Uber. All those stupid pranks ladies pay. Or a guy comes and he's engaging you and he's now telling you know what, it's late, just stay, and you really want to go and he's like, it's early. First and foremost, avoid, if you know that you are one of those that have a weakness and you're trying to break free from that, avoid that environment. Avoid houses. Stop meeting solo in the house. Open places. Meet at a park, meet at a restaurant, meet at an eatery, meet at the movie theater, meet at the mall. Go take ice cream, go take a walk. Whatever you do, do not meet behind closed doors, because you're creating an enabling environment for such temptations to occur. And if you're one who masturbation is your issue, whatever it is, if it's pictures in your phone, illicit pictures, video, porn, block them, delete them from your phone. As a matter of fact, wipe them out. If you have those songs that get you in the mood, wipe them out. Put in inspirational songs, put in motivational videos and motivational songs that or messages that once you get that, you listen to, and it's telling you about how you can better yourself, how you're better and you're a good person and this and that and that. And trust me, before you know it, that feeling will pass, or go outside, take a walk, do something. Whatever you do, try to avoid yourself from, having that atmosphere where those things can happen, right? And you know what it is, Another thing would be distance yourself from people who pressure you. Do you have friends who are engaging in these things, who make you feel like you are the party pooper, you're the one who is not going with the flow, you're archaic, you're, analog, as they would call it, or they just make you feel out of place, Anybody who pressures you from things like that, break free. Is it a friend, an ex, or someone you're even dating right now, putting you under pressure? Distance yourself from, like I said, an atmosphere that would keep you locked up. And if that person is sincerely for you, trust me, that person will value your presence rather than have that moment away. Another thing you could do, is pick up something else that would take your mind, off the pressure of thinking sex. Like I said, you're detoxing yourself. And what I will recommend if you're a believer is pick up the Word of God. Read the Word of God. The Word of God would sanitize you, like the Bible will say, renewing your mind is something that we do constantly. And as the Word of God enters, it has a way it flushes. And if you're not a Christian, you're somewhere else, find a book that would motivate you, a book that would inspire you to flush out, a book that would take that atmosphere away and bring in something new for you. So detoxing is very, very key, because as long as you detox and as long as those triggers are not around you, right, you have already broken a pattern, because it takes the triggers to start the pattern anyway. So as long as they are removed, then trust me, you'll find yourself breathing a whole different atmosphere, something better, something easier for you. And I'm talking about if you're married and you're doing this, you might want to avoid the other person, spend more time with your spouse. I mean, even if the spouse is not giving you what you really want, how about teaching your spouse what you want? We talked about this when we were talking about let's talk about sex, and I said, sometimes go the extra mile. This is how I like it, this is what I want. Give them practical, show them what you want, so that they could give you enough of what you want. Because as long as you're not talking, as long as you're quiet, trust me, you're not helping the other person help you. And if you're a lady or a guy and you're saying, oh, I don't like the body doesn't appeal to me, she has added weight, he has added weight, sit with that person. You know what, babe, we're going to start hitting the gym together, right? Don't say, look, you're becoming fat. Look at you. You're becoming shapeless. Look, but you're not helping that person. You're demoralizing that person. You're making that person to feel less of themselves. So encourage that person. I want you to drop that weight. So we're going to go to the gym together. We're going to make sure that you get into shape. And it's a way of bonding. So it's going to help both of you to bond and to become a stronger couple. I'm going to stop here today, and then we'll continue hopefully on Sunday with the other two, and then hopefully we'll begin to put some touches on this. Meanwhile, I want to thank every one of you for taking our time to be a part of this broadcast. Again, I want to throw another shout out to two of my favorite people, ministers in my church, Minister Victoria and Minister David although I want to say a very happy birthday to both of you, I want you both to know that I love you from the depth of my heart. You guys are phenomenal, and thank you for being a voice out there. Thank you for what you do for God. Thank you for what you do for the body of Christ. I love you, and I know that great things are about to happen in your lives. So for the rest of us, till I see you guys on Sunday again, I love you. God bless you, and have